Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyanam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavamai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So since we have you in person tonight, would you chant for us this evening? Sure. So Mark, what verse are we on?
We're starting on 228.
228. So we've reached a liminal point in the text. So just to review where we are. We've finished a long section of discrimination between the self and the not self. And now Shankara has said, well, now we're going to address what we've been calling the not self, the world of name and form. And he says that too is Brahman. So the way I like to approach it, we have these two scriptural statements. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahman alone is real. The phenomenal world is illusory. A lie, literally. All the names and forms. And then we have Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Sarvamidam, all this, Kalu verily is Brahman. Well, make up your mind. Is it illusory or is it God? Yes. So the easiest way to understand this, Wendy and I have been going through this second chapter of Mandukya Upanishad, the Gaudapada Karika, where Gaudapada compares the waking state to the dream state. The way I like to frame it is you are the God of your dream. What you experience is mini Maya. What happens? You go to bed. Then mini Maya, avarana shakti, ignorance comes upon the mind. We call it deep sleep. The nature of deep sleep is the non-apprehension of myself as the waker. Then comes the Vikshepa Shakti, the projection. And I have a dream body, which becomes a locus of perception, and a dream ego. And there's a world outside me in the dream of name and form, people, places, things, and conditions, and they seem real. and they are joy-giving and misery-producing, and I have thoughts and feelings inside. And all of it is my mind. Now listen carefully. I'm not saying that you are dreaming the entire universe as an ego. Wendy gets hit by a bus, we don't all disappear. Ishvara is dreaming all this. But we will later get into how we participate in this. Total mind. But the main thing that Shankara has been saying is this phenomenal world is not separate from me. It's not separate from consciousness. Just like the ornaments are no different than gold, the pots are no different than clay, names and forms are no different than consciousness. Just like gold never leaves its dharma, clay never leaves its dharma, consciousness never really leaves its dharma. Satchidananda. All right, will you help us out?
मृत्कार्य भूतोऽपि मृदो न भिन्नः तुम्भोऽस्ति सर्वत्र तुमृत्स्वरूपात् न कुम्भरूपं पृथग् अस्ति कुम्भ कुतो मृषा कल्पित नाम मात्र. Though a pot is a modification of clay, it is not any different from it. In essence, the pot is the same everywhere. So why call it a pot? It is merely a false and fancied name.
Yes, so that's what I just said. So the idea is the material cause of all pots is clay. If it's a little bowl, if it's a tall vase, flower pot, whatever it is, it's all just clay. Same with gold ornaments. So this world, the people, places, things, and conditions in it are the lila, they're the play of consciousness. Now, how do I come to see this? How do I take it out of the realm of indirect knowledge and have the direct experience? The practice is I have to pull my reactivity out of the phenomenal world. Shankara will use the example, you need to have a mind like a wicker basket with water just pouring through it. So whatever sensory data comes to me, just let it pass through. And when we were at camps, this is where Swamiji used to poke. And if he saw you had an identification or an attachment, he'd poke and keep poking. And if you got upset and angry, he'd just keep poking until we let it go, until we dropped. So there's this intense introversion of the mind as you're moving through the world. And you get extrovert. Till it's all sama drishta, equality of vision. And the more we do this, the more the world will thin out. And those of you who've done long meditation retreats may have already begun to sense this, where the world becomes more and more like two-dimensional and transparent. Anybody have that sense of it on a meditation retreat? Next verse.
केनापि हृदि भिन्नतया स्वरूपं घटस्य सन्दर्शयितुं न शक्यते अतो घटकल्पित एव मोहात् हृदेव सत्यं परमार्थभूतम्. No one can show by demonstration that the essence of a mud pot is other than the mud. Therefore, the pot is merely imagined through delusion, and the mud aspect alone is the enduring reality in the mud pot.
So it isn't that, oh, I don't see a pot. It's not other than the mud. The story I like to tell is this. So there's a woman, and she's gotten all of her mother's and her grandmother's jewelry, some rings and brooches and necklaces. And there's quite a bit of gold, but most of them are broken. So she takes the gold to a goldsmith, a jeweler, and says, I want you to fashion me a ring and put this beautiful amethyst in it, and I want a gold ring, and they size it and stuff like that. How long will it take? About a month. So she comes back a month later, goes to the jeweler, and he opens this little box. And there's the amethyst set in a silver ring. What happened to the gold? Oh, no. It turns into silver when you turn it into a ring. Is that what happens? You cheater. So even if it was a broken brooch or necklaces or all that stuff, it's always gold. It doesn't leave its nature. It doesn't turn into silver. Likewise, the world of name and form, even the people we don't like, even the circumstances we don't like. What's really there? It's consciousness. Which is more real, the pleasant dream or the nightmare?
Neither one.
Neither one. Now, here's a secret. Where we get identified and attached is almost always on the pleasure side of an external experience. Most of us as yogis are more than willing to renounce our identification and attachment to the things that are upsetting us. And why can't I let it go? Why can't I let it go? So if I get triggered when someone says, oh, you did a bad job, or they ignore us or stuff like that, why? Because on a previous occasion, I got lots of attention, or I got lots of approval. And what did I do with that? Oh, yeah. I just sucked it up. Then, when it changes, notice I didn't say if, because it will. I'm stuck. It's hard to let go. So the hardest part of this is when enjoyable things come our way. Hands off. No attachment. No identification. Any questions about the practice that's implied? What happiness I do get from an object, desire, object of desire, they become one. Oh, it's just a taste of my own self nature. It's all Krishna. Now, that doesn't mean to not be appropriate in the world. If someone does a nice thing for you, you graciously say thank you. Get attached. All right, next verse.
सद्ब्रह्मकार्यं सकलं सदेव तन्मात्रमेतन्न ततोऽन्यदस्ति अस्तीति यो वक्ति न तस्य मोहो विनिर्गतो निद्रितवत् प्रजल्प. So too, the entire universe, being the effect of the real Brahman, can be nothing other than it. It is of the essence of that, and it cannot exist apart from that. Anyone who says it does is still under delusion and twaddles like one in deep sleep.
Yes. So, to say that the self in me is Brahman, but the phenomenal world is inherently real. And, I've heard people try to justify their reactivity. Well, isn't it okay, like if your mother dies, to grieve? Of course it's okay. But what it means is there's still some delusion. Aren't I entitled to get angry if somebody cheats? You can do whatever you want. But you know when your heart is moved, when the mind is extroverted. And it's always because I'm taking the dream as real. Now, how do I deal with this? Step back. I'm going to give you a mantra. This is not for beginner students. I have no thoughts or feelings of my own. A couple ways to use this. At one level, the emptier your mind becomes, the more you will feel the thoughts and feelings of others as if they were your own. So this distinction between, oh, I'm tuning into so-and-so's upset, or this is my upset, you can't figure it out anymore. The distinction is gone. It's just mind. Did this make sense? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like you're riding on the bus and all of a sudden you start getting angry at your wife and you haven't got one. Oh, it's not me, it's the dude next to me. But if we hook the I pronoun on it, then all of a sudden I start making up a story about it. So what I'm saying is, don't try to figure out, is this my stuff or am I tuning into somebody else's? In the beginning, we want to take responsibility for our reactivity. That's absolutely important. Don't pan it off on somebody else. But now what I want you to do, I have no thoughts or feelings of my own. thoughts and feelings arise. It doesn't matter if it's the dude next to you on the bus or it's something that came out of your own prarabdha. Stand back. Do not own it. I am ever the untouched witness of. Now, there is one thing you can do. This is a tantric meditation. One of my other little slogans. The awareness of suffering is an invitation to prayer. If you become aware of suffering mind, don't try to fight it or block it or anything like that. I love the Tibetan meditation Tonglen. I think most of you I've explained this to. Mike, did you look it up?
Yeah, I started to and I read a little bit, but that's as far as I got.
Well, let me tell you what you do. So Tonglen is a tantric meditation, and it's rooted in this idea that our tendency is fight, flight, and freeze. So what we want to do is soften and be open. We don't want to use, I have no thoughts or feelings of my own as a way to make a barrier, you know. And you know what I'm talking about? You're fighting it. So instead, what do? Okay, all of a sudden, deep sadness is there. You breathe it in. Then you breathe out peace. Breathe in the sadness. And you breathe out peace. And you keep doing it. And in time, you'll find that there's just no difference. You can do this for another person. You can do this for the world. You can do this for some condition that feels like it's my own, or the person next to you on the bus. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Then you become in this dream of this world and have to be a nightmare. You become a little bit part of the solution. It's a very wonderful meditation. It's not about distracting ourselves. It's about being present to what's there. Breathe it in. Don't be afraid of it. It's just a mind state. Breathe out. Peace, serenity. Wonderful meditation. Is that clear for you, Mike? I think this may be the first time you've. Okay.
I had not heard the phrase, but I've heard the practice before, but done it in a
Yeah.
Christian perspective. So
Yes.
So Tonglen is based on the theory that you and I are the same. Therefore, your suffering is
Well, there's no such thing as my mind or your mind.
Yeah.
It's just mind. It's like think of some issue that you have. Can you don't have to be a really deep, important one, just something.
Sure. Yeah.
Tell me what.
Well, I think in India, my family and my sister and everybody's fallen sick a little bit. So just
No. Think of a personal issue that you have.
issue.
Like something at work or something that between you and your husband that comes up on occasion.
Yeah, I think work issue, I guess.
Tell me the work
Just-
issue.
I just said I think I have some deliverables at work and I'm just feeling nervous about.
So you get nervous about performance.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you get that?
I made it up, I know that.
So it's a form of perfectionism?
Yes.
Where'd you get that? Where were you taught perfectionism?
I don't think I was. I don't know.
It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere.
Bullshit.
I made it up.
No. You picked it up from a teacher or a parent or a sibling,
But nobody told me you have to be perfect. I think
maybe another life. These are not causeless, is what I'm saying. These are not causeless. But let's say, for the sake of argument, you got it from your father. Where did he get it?
maybe from his father.
Yeah. Or an uncle, or a teacher, or a grandparent, or a newspaper, or the social environment at school. And where did they get it? So you can't find these things belonging to anybody. That's my point. It's like, I've got the basketball, I'm going to toss it to you, and you got the basketball, you toss it to her. And this is called my shitty mind. Toss it to you, and you toss it to Ganesh, he tosses it over there. And it doesn't belong to anybody unless you go, I and mine. Listen, I've got issues. It's mine. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
So the idea is, okay, it arises. But Shankar's saying here, step back. It does not belong to you. You are acintyam, unthinkable. Vigunaihi, beyond the guna. You have no sorrow. You have no anger. You have no competitiveness. You have no perfectionism. You are Vishuddha, extremely pure, a transcendental purity. I have no thoughts or feelings of my own. And in this world, mine just goes by. Don't be frightened of it. If it's something that's negative, breathe it in and breathe out the antidote. You don't have to do the tongue lick. If you could just even stand back and just always be the witness. Simple, but not easy. But this is the practice, to be able to see the self in and through the world. So our work is not complete if we just see the self as the witnessing consciousness and the world still upsets me. That's the next stage. All right, next verse.
ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वमित्येव वाणी श्रौति ब्रूतेऽथ वनिष्ठा वरिष्ठा तस्मादेतद् ब्रह्ममात्रं हि विश्वं नाधिष्ठानात् भिन्नता रोपितस्य. Truly, this entire universe is Brahman. This is the declaration of the Atharva Veda. Therefore, this universe is Brahman alone, for a superimposition has no existence independent of its substrata.
And it's in the footnote, does it say what the citation is, which Upanishad?
It's in Atharva Veda.
But I know that's
Oh,
but which
yeah,
Upanishad?
it says Mundaka Upanishad.
Mundaka, okay. So the one I always quote is from Chandogya, but it's a similar mantra. Truly, this world is nothing but Brahman. all that it is. It's all unfolding perfectly. All gonna be okay. And remember, nobody dies. Nobody's born. Nobody dies. So we have great saints like Anandamayi Ma, or it's talked about in Yoga Vasishtha, who barely even see the world at all. I'm so lost in this hour. Ramana Maharshi just gone. And then at other times, he loved to go in the kitchen. He was a foodie. He liked to make sure the food was prepared for the people who were coming. Always doing service. Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Satyam yadi syad jagadevatmano anantatvahanid nigama pramanata asatyavaditvam apishitu syat naitat sadhu hitam mahatmanam. If the universe as it is real, the Atman would not be infinite. The scriptures would be false. The Lord himself would be guilty of having spoken an untruth. None of these three is considered either desirable or wholesome by the pure-minded ones.
So, if God is omnipresent, present everywhere, and its nature is kutastha, absolutely still and unchangeable, then if the world is real and exists apart from consciousness, then there's God plus stuff. You haven't got an omnipresent God. So Vedanta is not monotheistic. The three great Semitic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, posit monotheism. There's only one God. Hinduism has many names for the infinite, but it's actually monistic. What's the difference between monism and monotheism? Monotheism, there's only one God. Monism, there's only God. No otherness. So we have terms like Nirguna Brahman, the witnessing consciousness, the eternal. Subject, near means without. Saguna Brahman. Sa means with. It's still Brahman with qualities. Does it really have qualities? It just appears to have qualities. One of the most famous images is the pratibimba. A bimba is a mirror. A pratibimba is the reflection in the mirror. You go into the bathroom and look in the mirror, you see your reflection, your face in the mirror. Can you pull that reflection out of the mirror? Has the mirror undergone a change? No. It's a good mirror. When Wendy goes in, there's a beautiful young lady. It's a bad mirror. Jim goes in and there's a fat old man. Has the mirror changed at all? Does it change into the images reflected in it? No. It's just its nature to reflect. Now, our metaphor falls down because with a mirror, there's an external object. In Brahman, by its Maya Shakti, all disappears. How? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. Just like people, places, things, and images in your dream body, your dream ego, your dream thoughts and feelings are all just your mind appearing as those elements. This is no different. This is no different. So Swami Tejo Mayananda had a popular saying that he liked to say. The foolish person doesn't take life seriously, squanders time, talent, treasure. The intelligent person takes life seriously. But the wise person seriously doesn't take life seriously. Hold it easy. Sarvamaya, Sarvamaya. It's all Maya. It's all bliss. Here Shankar is saying, and that's what Lord Krishna thunders in Gita. It's what the Upanishads thunder, what the Mahatmas say as well. You can believe it, even though you have yet to experience it. Next verse.
ईश्वरो वस्तुतत्त्वज्ञो न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि त्येवमेव व्यचीकृपत् न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि त्येयमेव व्यचीकृपत्. The Lord, Him who knows the secret of all things, has expressly supported this view in His words. But I do not live in them, nor do beings exist in me.
So I think it's 11th chapter, isn't it? Does he footnote it?
Yes. 9:4.
chapter 9. So early on in the Gita, he'll say, all this is strung on me like gems on a thread. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Krishna's in you. That's the first teaching. But in chapter 9, he says, well, actually, I am not in them. They are in me. Then a few verses later, he says, well, actually, they're not even really in me. Behold my divine Maya, the support of it all. So, do you incarnate into a dream? Are you in the dream, or is the dream in you? Dreams in me. And if I'm dreaming I'm out horseback riding, I don't wake up in the morning with a horse in bed with me. It wasn't really even in me. All this is in you with a capital Y, meaning in Brahman. What is this world? Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. How have the images come about? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. Take it easy. Don't worry. Why is the drama what it is? Who is the divine scriptwriter of the play of life? Some of us have a starring role, others of us have a bit part. None of it is real. I've been watching these YouTube videos where they're doing interviews of the actors who were playing the characters in the Harry Potter movies. And it's just wonderful to see interviews of Snape. I can't remember the actor's name. He's so not like Snape. And the guy who plays Voldemort with, like, the snake slit nose and stuff like that. It's like a very nice fellow. These were just characters. That's all this is. What do? Dial down my reactivity. I heard something a few weeks ago and I just love it. My worries wither and die from lack of attention when I keep my mind focused on the input. And by this time, it's of value to take on the meditation. We are not healed so much by what we turn from, but by what we turn to. Don't worry about this world. You know it's not you. Yeah. Tune your mind to the yoke the mind to the sound. Drown the mind in Brahman. soak the mind in the roar of Om. As Swamiji wrote in Manjus. Yeah. Next verse.
यदि सत्यं भवेद्विश्वम् यदि सत्यं भवेद्विश्वं सुषुप्ता उपलभ्यताम् यन्नोपलभ्यते किञ्चित् अतो सत् स्वप्नवन्मृषा. If the universe were true, it would have been perceived even in the deep sleep state. Since it is not at all perceived, it must be like dreams, false and unreal.
Yes. So if it were real, like you are real, you'd perceive it in the deep sleep state. Everybody's experience is it was unavailable. Now, what do we mean by what's real? Let's review our philosophical definition of reality. That which is never subject to negation. Let me give you a very mundane kind of example. Look around and look at the objects in the room. Who sees the objects in the room? I do. You refer to yourself. Now close your eyes. The room is not perceivable. But have you ceased to be? Are you not seeing the back of your eyelids? Sight is not gone. Just the objects are gone. So on a worldly example, your sight still is, even though you don't see the objects. Now the world, if it were real, it would always be there. Just like your eyeballs, your sight were there, even when your eyes were closed. But that's not our experience. Something is there. Who slept well last night? In the morning, did you have the memory? Oh, I must have slept so well. I feel rested. Can't remember a thing.
Yeah.
That means you were there. Did I sleep well?
I don't know.
Why?
Because I wasn't there.
Yeah. You cannot remember something you have not experienced. If you can remember deep sleep, you were witnessing it. Just like when you close your eyes, you see the back of your eyelids. You see the non-perception of the phenomena. That's what's real. You are non-negatable. What is negatable? Just like the dream is negatable. I wake up, the dream goes poof. Next verse.
अतः पृथङ् नास्ति जगत्परात्मनः पृथक् प्रतीतिस्तु दृशा गुणादिवत् आरोपितस्यास्ति किमर्थवत्ता अधिष्ठानम् अभाति तथा भ्रमेण. Therefore, the world does not exist independent of the Supreme Self, and like qualities, the notion of its separateness is false. Can a superimposition have any meaning apart from its own substratum?
Yes. So we have many examples of superimpositions. The most famous, of course, is the snake and the rope. So when I look down in the dark and I misapprehend the rope and I think there's a snake, is my imagined snake anything other than the robe appearing as a snake. Actually, the robe hasn't changed in any way, shape, or form. Where's the snake? Always with a superimposition. True story. So I get a letter from the state of California addressed to the Silent Way. Attention, James H. Gilman. Oh, God, now what have we got to go through? Some of you know we just went through a whole bunch of bureaucracy with our nonprofit status. So I wait 3-4 days. And you want someone to come over and they can read it to me. And then, no, I'll put it under my CCTV. We have determined that you are a nonprofit corporation and do not have to pay taxes. So where did my letter that was going to cause all the problems exist? Adhyasa, superimposition. So also, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this world is verily Brahman, it's God. But because of Maya, because of mind, ignorance, we superimpose the world of name and form. We think it's real. Let me give you another worldly example. You close your eyes for a moment and visualize a mango. And then if you have dreamed about a mango, there's a similarity, and there's a difference. What's the similarity? The mango of my waking state imagination and the mango of my dream are both imaginary. But in the dream, I think it's real. This is like a dream. I'm spiritually asleep if I think the world is real. I want to wake up. Next verse.
भ्रान्तस्य यद्यत् भ्रमतः प्रतीतं ब्रह्मैव तत्तज्जृततं हि शुक्तिः इतं तया ब्रह्म सदैव रूप्यते त्वारोपितं ब्रह्मणि नाममात्रम्. Through error of judgment, whatever a deluded man perceives can only be Brahman. Okay, now. Through error of judgment, whatever a deluded man perceives can only be Brahman and Brahman alone. The silvery sheen perceived is nothing but a mother of pearl. Brahman is ever present as this universe, and that which is superimposed on Brahman can only be a mere name.
Yes, yes, yes. So if I'm walking along the beach and I look down and I think, oh, I found a dime. I pick it up and it's only a piece of shell. I superimposed upon the mother of pearl of the shell the silver of a coin. Likewise, all this is Brahman. My mind has superimposed. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. This is just, this is unjust. The names and form imagined by Ishvara are fundamentally neutral. Is a star good or bad? No, it's just a star. The speed of light good or bad? No, it's just the speed of light. But then I, in my mind, because of my spiritual ignorance, just have all these judgments about. So there's one layer of ignorance to remove. My judgments about the world of name and form. And then the deepest layer is to understand that Ishvara's imaginations are just that. How has this world come about? Sankalpena, by means of imagination. All right, next one.
New chapter. Brahman, its nature.
Yay!
Atah param brahma sadadvitiyam vishuddha vijnana ghanam niranjanam prashantamadhyanta vihinam akriyam nirantarananda rasaswarupam. Okay, there are two verses. Nirastamaya krita sarva vedam nityam sukham nishkalama prameyam arupam avyaktamanakhyam avyam arupam avyaktamana arupam avyaktamanakhyam avyayam jyote swayam kinchiridam chakasti. Therefore, whatever is manifested in the Supreme Brahman itself, real, non-dual, extremely pure, the essence of knowledge absolute, taintless, supremely peaceful, without beginning or end, beyond all activity, always of the nature of bliss absolute, transcending all diversities created by Maya, eternal, the essence of joy, indivisible, immeasurable, formless, unmanifest, nameless, immutable, and self-effulgent.
So here is an incredibly rich meditation verse. So there's two ways to use this one. All these descriptives refer to myself, but they also refer to this world. Let's see if I can give a worldly example. I think the best one I can come up with is these virtual reality glasses. No, that's not the one I want. It's when you have glasses that are tinted, like they're rose colored or they're blue colored. Have any of you ever had any of those? They're like shades, but they have a color to them. Mm-hmm. So if you have the ones that are rose colored, everything is tinted rose. So what I need to remember is, oh, it looks so pretty and so rose-colored. But that's not what's really there. Take off the glasses. See what is. So to understand when I'm seeing a world of name and form, and especially its qualities, good, bad, just, unjust, right, wrong, joy-giving, misery-producing. I'm looking through my glasses, my judgment lenses. It's not real. All I can see is my opinions. I think one of the clearest examples, this doesn't work for the Gen Z kids, but all of us who have, been around a bit and remember old-timey movie projectors for home movies. So there would be a lamp, and you'd have the reels of the film, you'd have a screen. The lamp is the light of consciousness. The film on the reels is the mind. The images on the film are my various opinions, judgments, etc. What shows up on the screen? The outpicturing of the images on the film. Now, what happens if I remove all my opinions and judgments? If I scrape all the images off the film, what happens? There's mind. We call that samadhi. And that's not the highest state. The highest state is you're sitting there watching a movie and you know it's a movie. No need to destroy it because it's not really there. So give us this wonderful list of descriptives because they're so beautiful.
Transcendental.
Why not?
Real.
Yeah, it is.
One without a second.
It's the only thing here.
Extremely pure.
That's the issue of them. There's no real taint to me. And the names and forms don't really taint the self. Next one.
Homogeneous mass of pure fudge.
That
Good
was
one.
very good. It's an Anandaganam. Vijnanaganam, homogeneous mass of knowledge. That's again taken straight from Manjushya. But I think that was very funny. That was very funny.
Without any taint.
Yes. When I was talking about that exercise earlier, I have no thoughts or feelings of my own. There's no taint. I have no taint. I'm ever the witness of it all. Next idea.
Supremely peaceful.
Yes. The self is so still. I call it the cosmic teeter-totter. Let go of the world and up goes your serenity. Start becoming attached to the world and down goes your serenity. You choose. Next idea.
Devoid of beginning and end.
Yes. You cannot find a beginning of you. There will be no end of you. Nobody dies. And every form has it's paradox. Next one.
Beyond activity.
I do nothing. I watch the movie pass in front of me. Next one.
Of the nature of eternal bliss.
So when the mind can let go of the world and come home, just like our image there of Hanuman embracing Ram, that's when the mind is finally satisfied. So simple, so practical. Don't believe me? Try it. All right, one more.
There are more attributes
Oh, okay, let's go.
of the nature of eternal bliss.
Yes. So because yourself is bliss absolute, the mind can be blissful. Next one.
Transcending all diversities created by Maya.
Yes. So whatever happens in the world of name and form, whatever happens to the body, whatever happens to the mind and the intellect, I am ever unattached, asanguha, not joined to any. Next idea.
Eternal.
It's different than very old, Purana or Sanatana, ancient. It's always in the now, always in the now, always in the now. Next idea.
The essence of pleasure.
Yeah. Remember, when desire and object of desire become one, what really happens is the jonesing, the craving, the desiring is gone for a moment. I got what I wanted. What is pleasure? The non-union with craving. That's what it is. Next idea.
Without any parts.
Yes. In fact, the world looks like it's got this person, that object, this object, when in fact it's a homogeneous mass of consciousness. Vijnana. Next one.
Immeasurable.
How big are you? Sometimes it feels like I'm a point from which I'm looking out at the world. But sometimes when I'm real quiet, I say, look behind my eyes, notice the nose. There's just this vast, empty space of consciousness itself. It is no dimension. You can't measure it. Next one.
Formless.
Yes. There is no form to me. I'm not the body, and there's no form to God. It's not the statue of Krishna or Ram or Shiva or Jesus. Marduk. Next one.
Unmanifest.
The self never really comes into manifestation. Does the dream become manifest? Seen, but not real. Next one.
Nameless.
So in the outer world, we have thousands of names for the divine. We even have chants. The Vishnu Sahasranam. What does Sahasranam mean? Yeah, still not enough. And there are no names for the of the Upadesha. Next one.
Immutable, irreducible.
No change. Cannot be reduced to anything. It just is. Kutastha, still, unchanged, immoved, established. Next idea.
Self-luminous or self-effulgent.
Yes. So how do I know I meet? I do not see, hear, taste, touch, or smell the self. I don't emote the self. I don't think the self, yet I know I am. How do you know it? I don't know, I just know it. It is self-evident, self-effulgent, or self-luminous. It is its own means of knowledge. Now listen very carefully. That is the only thing, the only knowledge ever going on. So look at an object here in the room. That is the self-evidence of Brahman. Who's knowing it? I am. What are you looking at? Oh, it's Brahman. Inside, outside, all that ever goes on is the Swayam Jyoti, the self-luminosity of the infinite. There's nothing else to know. Next idea.
That's it.
That's it. And that's 9 o'clock. What verse are we on for next week?
239.
239. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om